Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I'm going to go through this little playlist that I've made, which is essentially a compilation of long songs that I like. Now, I really enjoy my long suites, my long medleys, my long songs, right? So you're noticing that they're all sort of 20 minutes long, right? I like that. I like things that take you on a sonic journey. I like things that start off small, go huge, and then bring you back in some kind of narrative arc sort of thing. Not necessarily, you know, an actual story with lyrics composed and stuff, because I'm not a particularly lyrical person. Like, I only follow lyrics when there's, genius annotations or whatever, or I can just read the lyrics on the video alongside it, that kind of thing. I'm not someone that can hear someone singing words and immediately know what they're saying. Maybe I subconsciously know what they're saying, but I don't really understand it. Right? So I thought what we'd do is we would just go through these 12 songs, because these are, I'd say, some of my favourite. And I've specifically gone for one band per artist. One song per artist, right? Or band, right? So we're going to start off with Motorpsycho Nox Suite. This was on their, I think, their 20th album. Called The All Is One, which is a big prog rock odyssey double album kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. Oh, shut up, bloody phone! Stop buzzing! It's so annoying. How much can you possibly buzz in 1 second? Okay, there's like 5 people texting me at once, all while I start recording the video. But text me after. Oh well. Anyway. So yeah, one song per artist, because I could have filled this out with King Gizzard and Dream Theater, and I thought, let's save you from that. So first off, we got the Motorpsycho Nox Suite, which is a 5-piece suite. So it starts off with this very slow thing that gradually introduces a very vivid melody, right? All of these songs tend to have that one main melody that's really useful for them to draw back to. You want to have that grounding element so that you can go off and explore and have somewhere to come back to, so that no matter where you explore, it always feels like you're doing something for a reason rather than just meandering, right? I was just listening to Supper's Ready, right? And I don't know, I've never quite loved Supper's Ready. And I feel like one of the issues with it, it's very well composed, very, very well put together, and it's clear, and it's an interesting song on a good album, right? But I just find that it doesn't have that core thing. I know it has got a main melody and a main riff, but I don't know, it just doesn't quite have the same impact for me. I never quite feel the return of it. I never quite feel that melody coming back. So, and that's just my experience of it anyway. That's my opinion on the song. Some people love that sort of side of prog. I mean, I'd certainly do. I mean, Dream Theater's on here, you know, so I understand. IQ's on there, you know. I like that kind of thing a little bit, but I don't know. I never quite got into Genesis personally. Then we have What Have We Sown by the Pineapple Thief, which Pineapple Thief are a fantastic band. This song is really, really good. It has a sort of end of the worldness sort of feeling, like being on the edge of civilization, right? That's kind of what it feels like to me. What I like about it is how it kind of combines more electronic elements, not quite, you know, EDM or techno or anything like that, but it brings in sort of sampled drums with very, like, what feel like overdriven sort of effect put onto the drums, and does interesting things with synthesizers around all of that, whilst combining that with, you know, a standard, you know, rock kind of arrangement, right? And it takes you on a really good sonic journey, and it starts off very heavy. It starts off with full throttle and then carries on. A lot of these sort of 20+ minute songs like to start things off very, very slowly, and basically eat up the first 3 minutes with almost ambience. Like, for instance, Shine You Crazy Diamond, which is a fantastic song, but it's not on here. It starts off about 4 minutes of sort of, I guess, guitar drone with probably some keyboard stuff going on. but it's all very, very slow, and the point of it is to set up a world and then to set up a direction for which this song is going to go and set up sort of an atmosphere, right? And that's all very important stuff. And What Have We Sown I like in part because it foregoes a lot of that, whilst it still sets up a good sense of atmosphere and a good sense of ambience, and you know what the song sounds like. It has a very melancholic yet intense sound to it, right? And really fantastic song. I will admit though that it's a song that it doesn't stick super well in my memory. I mean, I've listened to it like maybe a dozen times or something like that, right? I've listened to all of these songs probably about a dozen times, and I don't know, I just find that it never quite sticks in my mind. Like I know, for instance, the song structure of Octavarium, of The River, of Echoes, right? But What Have We Sown, it still feels like it surprises me, in the sense that I've listened to it so much and yet I haven't quite internalized the structure of it. I'm not entirely sure why, because it's not like I don't like the song. I think it's a fantastic song. And it's not that I don't think it's memorable. I do think it's memorable. The one bit where it goes, what have we sown? What have we sown? Obviously, I've ruined it for you, but it has that kind of quality to it. I just wish that there was a good live version of it. There isn't, sadly. Maybe because it's a hard song to play live. I don't know if they have played it live. Anyway, next up we have Dream Theater Octavarium. Right, I've gone for the live version. The only reason I've gone for the live version is on the studio version. During the big bit where they scream Octavarium like a load of times with this big da-da-da-da-da sort of riff right behind it, right? I feel like they ruin it by adding this pointless, meandering lead guitar on top of it that's not adding anything to it. It shouldn't be there. It doesn't need to be there, right? And it's not in there in this version. It's not there. It's not present. I also feel like they've extended a couple sections. Definitely the intro. This is another song that has a long, slow, atmospheric sort of intro. They extend that from about 4 minutes to about 6 minutes. They also, I'm sure that they extend the Someone Just Like Him section somewhere nearer the start. I love that whole section coming out of the ambient section into that, the introduction of the acoustic guitar, the strumming that then goes into the more fingerpicky thing. It really sets up a fantastical, almost Tolkien-esque kind of atmosphere that I really like. I think my main criticism of the song would be when it goes from the ambient section to the rest of the song. It does this thing where it's like, big crashes with big wow, right? And the first time I heard that, it put me off the song and it put me off the whole fucking band, right? And this was when I just found Echoes and I was trying to find more songs like Echoes. And I love Octavarium now, but that 20-second bit just ruined it for me. What it should have, because it goes too high and then goes back down. I understand that they want to have that going downness to it, but I don't really get why they couldn't have introduced something a bit slower. Taking the ambient section that they have, maybe introducing some drum thing that builds up and up and up and up so that it can cut out, so that it can go into the acoustic section, rather than having these stupid, one-hit sort of operatic things. I just don't get it. But the song's fantastic. The full circle bit is really fucking amazing, even if the lyrics are a bit weird and cheesy. But then, that's what you expect from Dream Theater. It's the same band that made a 20-minute song about going to a castle and having an awkward experience wandering around the basement. And that's basically the whole song. Where it's, let me introduce my brother. That is one of the lyrics in another one of their songs. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to move on to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, the shoot that river. It's just called the river, but they started doing this thing where whatever version of the river that they're playing, they'll rename it to the nearest river in the venue that they're in or whatever, right? And this version I like because I think it's the longest version that they've done, but it also doesn't have a super long middle section. There's another version of this song, the Chicago River, which is similar in length. But the issue I have with it is that the middle section, which is quiet, is so much longer, and it doesn't really do much of it. It just kind of feels like it meanders in this jammy kind of sense without really going anywhere. And then they introduce the riff that's in the studio version of the song, and they treat that like, okay, we've done a return. In this one, admittedly, the fast, heavier section isn't quite as good as some of the other sections that they've done. They've done that section better before, but the fact that overall it's such a cohesive package, right? And they don't do that thing that they like to do where they bring in another song. Like they like to sing another song called Wah Wah over bits of the river. I don't know why. Stop doing it. Okay, no, it's not for me to say. Do what you want, but it just annoys me personally. Yeah, I'd say this is probably my favourite version of the song. The Red Rocks version is also good, but it does have that wah wah thing that I don't like. What else? The final section. You notice I'm not playing any of these, right? Because I want to make money off this video. The end section of this river is fan-fucking-tastic. It's truly amazing. So go listen to it. This version is really good. It's just compiled of phone footage, but it's soundboard quality audio. It's high quality audio that sounds like in line with all the rest of this stuff. Next up we have IQ, Harvest of Souls, which is another song that I found around the time I was looking for songs like Echoes. Right, and it's one I kind of dismissed at first as being sort of Marillion-esque neo-prog bullshit, right? But I mean, sure, there is elements of that, like for instance when they do the fucking American national anthem or something, like in the midsection, with like a marching band fucking beat to it, and it's just like, can't shut up. But I was listening to it for the first time, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I heard the first half, and I was like, this song's good. And then the second bit comes out. I don't know if they subtitle the sections in this, but it's around 12 minutes in. This piano comes in going dun 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 dun. It's like that kind of thing. And then he starts to sing, shine like a star, shine bright when the sun of the light. Right, and that melody has really stuck with me. I really, really like that melody. And the arrangement that was going on in that section, in this particular live version as well, where they have this really, I think it's an E-bowed guitar. So I think they take this E-bow and they kind of, like that, rather than picking it. Because it feels very smooth, and then it has this very warm feeling piano underneath it. Yeah, really fantastic ballad section that then takes you into a much more heavier. They don't quite go full metal, but they do go heavy. I put them in the same heaviness bracket as King Gizzard, where they'll turn the overdrive on, they'll do fast riffs and stuff, but it never feels like you're listening to a metal song, right? I would say my main criticism of this Harvest of Souls is that I feel like, even though his vocals are good, it sometimes feels like he never shuts the fuck up. Like, he'll just keep singing. And it just keeps going. Like, if I look up, right? I'm gonna look it up. IQ, Harvest of Souls. Right? No, I didn't ask for you to play the fucking song, did I? Actually, yes, I did. Stop with the YouTube bullshit, please. Right, look at the amount of fucking lyrics that are in this. Right, I know it's a 20-minute long song, but that's ridiculous. All right, that is too much. And I'm sure that, as I said, I'm not a lyrical person. I throw my hands up in the air and I go, I don't know what any of this means. All right, look at it. I'm trying to find the bit. I genuinely cannot find the lyrics that I'm trying to find in the section that I like the most, because where am I supposed to find all this stuff? It's here, there it is. So the amount of searching I have to do to get that, I think, is a bit mad, right? Anyway, Echoes is up next. This is the classic, probably one of the most famous 20-minute songs ever, probably alongside stuff like Supper's Ready, and I'm trying to think, probably some of the stuff off Tales of Topographic Oceans, but Echoes is a fantastic song. I would say it's the definitive long song, if anything. It's so simple as well. I mean, the structure isn't that dissimilar from, you know, something that you might find on maybe a 5-6 minute song. Like, for instance, all it is introduction, verse, solo, bridge, quiet bit, crescendo, second verse, outro solo. That's it. It's only got 7. Hang on, let me think. Intro, that bit, quiet bit, crescendo, that bit. It's only got 7 full parts, right? You could expand that to 8, maybe. Yeah, you could expand that to 8 if you really wanted to, right? And that compared to something like, say, Dream Theater or King Gizzard, where they would have probably 15, 20 different sections. IQ Harvester Souls has probably like 30 sections in it. Echoes has 8. And I think that's something that makes it really interesting, is that it's just a really, really good time. It's very re-listenable. There's a multitude of different versions out there. There's the studio version, which I would say is one of my favourites. There's the live at Pompeii version, which they've just taken off YouTube so that they can release it in the fucking cinemas, right? With some, like, you know, remaster, and the remaster doesn't look any better. Yeah, it's a bit sharper, but the colours look fucked. I don't like it as much. Anyway, there's also the live at Gdansk version, which is a bit heavier sounding. It's a bit more willing to rock out compared to a lot of these ones, which are more quiet and restrained. Fantastic song, yeah, truly fantastic. And I don't need to keep talking up the importance of Echoes. It's you know it. Right. Next up, we got Porcupine Tree, Anesthetize, which is probably my favourite song from Porcupine Tree. Maybe, yeah, I'd say it's my favourite one. It's the midpoint of their album, which is all about, like, teenage kids walking around with loads of drugs in their heads, going, oh, sort of disassociating because of the legalised antidepressant drugs that I've been given and the ADHD medication I've been given, all that kind of stuff. It's a very sort of dark, moody, angsty sounding album in general, and I think this song represents it very well. It's cut into 3 main sections that you could probably then split up further. And I feel like as time has gone on, I've started to fall out of love with this song a wee bit. I used to like it a lot more than I do now. I still like it a lot, obviously, but it used to be one of my favourite ever songs, right? For me, it used to be up there with Echoes, but now it's not. It's not even in the same bracket. The final section is, certainly, but the issue I have with Porcupine Tree is in the prog metal space. I feel like Porcupine Tree do a really good job of, you know, the clean sounding stuff, the Pink Floyd worship. They do a great job of all that. Fantastic. And Steven Wilson's voice works for all of that. And his voice can even work in some metal, but the issue is I just don't think that their metal is very good at all. Their metal to me sounds like they've all listened to Metallica and wanted to do that, but not had the talent to be able to pull it off, which is absurd because they're extremely talented musicians to come out with something like Anesthetize. I mean, Gavin Harrison is one of the best drummers of all time. Richard, I can't remember his last name. The keyboards that he uses and the skill that he has on them is absolutely immense. Steven Wilson is a fantastic musician, incredibly virtuosic, incredibly prolific, incredibly hardworking, very creative. So why is it that they can't do metal? I don't know. Because they can do prog, right? They're good at that. So why can't they do metal? I don't know. I really don't understand. And it'd be okay if they didn't keep trying to do it. I mean, they've got 4 albums, I guess 5 now, I don't count Closer Continuation. They've got 4 albums, right, where they are obsessed with trying to get this metal sound. And they never get anything more than a bog standard sounding riff. They never get further than that. I've never heard a metal section from them that's blown me away, right? Look, Dream Theater aren't the best band in the universe, right? And I think that they kind of falter in a lot of the areas that Porcupine Tree succeeds at. But Dream Theater can do the metal stuff. Porcupine Tree can't do the metal stuff. Porcupine Tree can do the clean, Pink Floyd-y kind of stuff. Dream Theater kind of struggles with that. Right. Next up we have Homesick by Airbag. Now this is a band run by a guy who has a website dedicated to recreating David Gilmour's guitar tone. That should tell you everything you need to know about this song. It's set up in 3 parts. It's very much wanting to be kind of a cross between, I would say, Shine You Crazy Diamond and Echoes and probably Comfortably Numb. It's trying to be a lot of these kind of things, and it's also trying to find its own identity. Like, a lot of Airbag's music does sound like if you just put David Gilmour's voice over it, you wouldn't know the difference. But I do think that they do a really good job with it. And it never sounds derivative, even if it might be derivative. And I've noticed lately that they've been exploring more sort of what they called syncopated rhythms and stuff like that. And they've been trying to broaden their horizons away from the David Gilmour worship, which so good for them. I hope they find something interesting with it. I do feel like at the moment they're in a bit of an awkward transitional point. I found their Century of the Self album a little bit boring. And the one before that, Megalomaniacs, I think it was called. No, it was A Day at the Beach, that was it. I also found that one a bit uninteresting. Not bad, just a little bit uninteresting. But yeah, they are a really good band overall. I'd really recommend this album, All Rights Removed. I'd also recommend Disconnected and The Greatest Show on Earth. Although I'd say listen to that one last. That one's not as important. Yeah, then after that we've got Again by Archive, which they started off as a trip-hop unit in the mid-90s. They came out with an album called Londonatorium or something like that, which was essentially just a straight trip-hop, emphasis on the hop album. And then as time went on, they started to veer more and more into the kind of rock sort of scene, but using the lessons that they'd learnt from their time in the trip-hop scene. And so they kind of became this fusion band between rock and trip-hop, sort of electronic sort of stuff. Imagine Massive Attack meets, I don't know, Pink Floyd, let's just say, right? And the two work together really well. And I think Again is off their, I think it's their 3rd or 4th album. This You All Look the Same to Me. It's the first track on it, and I think this track really tells the audience who Archive are, what they're all about, and what makes them unique. Right? It starts off with a very wonderful, like, acoustic guitar, folky, very miserable sort of 2-3 minute bit that then slowly evolves into this, you know, what they called 808 type drum beats with the overdrive, similar sort of vein to What Have We Sown, actually. So you got a lot of those kind of drums, you got guitar solos kind of riffing all over the place, and it kind of builds up and up and up. It has a very similar song structure, funnily enough, to an Asphytise in terms of the core level of the composition, in that it starts off small, gets big, and then it has that kind of semi-ambient section around the 10-11 minute mark that then takes you into essentially another song that's sort of an answer to the questions that were being raised in the first half of the song. So yeah, I don't know. It's also an amazing song. There's one part in it quite near the end where they say that they do this sort of reprise of like, without your love, right? And it sounds really good, right? But there's one bit after the crescendo is finished, after the energy has been like paid off and stuff, where it's now come back down and there's a really lovely organ, right? They do it one last time, and I have no idea why. They shouldn't have put that there. It feels almost like it's like an accidental take that was just included in the door, and they took it and they forgot to take it out. That's genuinely what it sounds like. It shouldn't be there, right? I've listened to this song about 40 times, and never once have I been glad that bit was there, right? It brings the song down from a 10 to a 9, right? That one decision. It's irritating, that. I wish I could edit it to take that fucking bit out. It's like, you see how it's 16 minutes, 19 seconds. I'm talking this is like 15 minutes, 30 into it, right? So it's right near the end. Frustrating. Then there's Lady Fantasy. I picked this live at the Marquee Club because, well, it's a wee bit longer. They had a couple sections. I can't remember what sections they had, but I suppose that's a good thing because it doesn't feel forced. Any of the improvisations or extensions that they've done have felt incredibly natural. Lady Fantasy is probably Camel's most famous song. They're not really a band that are known for their epics. This is I think this is the most epic they ever went. There's also, I think it's called God of the Light or something like that, which was essentially a live medley of tunes from their first debut album, which is one of my favourite ever albums. I feel like Camel sort of went downhill after this point, but that's probably for another video. Lady Fantasy is a really, really great song that has a multi-layered kind of composition to it, where it starts off with this really kind of, I describe it as shopping centre synths, right? It feels like that. It's right, like that, and it kind of does that for a bit, but it pays off into this like really satisfying 70s classic rock organ fueled noise, right? And then it has a couple verses, and it goes through its fun prog odyssey before returning to something a bit quiet, having a final verse in a similar-ish sort of sense to how Echoes is structured. This is taking that sort of idea and boiling it down to I guess a less epic kind of quantity. This isn't big and grand. This is quaint and small, but powerful at the same time. And then it's got the final couple minutes, which are just absolutely fucking legendary. It brings the original theme back. I can't do it properly, but anyway, and they do a really fantastic job of that. And it's impressive how they managed to fit so much climax into only like a minute and a half. Like the climax of this song starts like 14 minutes, and it feels like it's going on for a while, and then the song just ends, right? So yeah, fantastic song. And then after that, we've got two songs that I've kind of included. I shouldn't really have this anecdote thing here because I don't know it very well. I've only listened to it today. It is a good song. It's quite heavy, quite grungy. It's good. Then you got Electronic Systems, Skylab, 1974. This is, I included this because for me it's amazing background music. It's long, it's sort of it focuses more on playing with the arrangement rather than the composition. I think it's like the same two chords sort of thing throughout, right? But what they do with those chords is take this sort of song and drive it through basically every genre that could possibly exist. There's synthy sounding bits, there's guitar-y sounding bits, there's piano-y sounding bits, and it all feels so natural and like it's always evolving and progressing. And I think it's fantastic. And I'm not going to really describe it much more than that in any way that would do justice to it. It's just a really fantastic song. It's one that I've known about for a long time, but one that I've always kind of just listened to do writing and stuff like that. So if I ever was, writing an essay, I'd put that on, or I'd probably put on Bolero, right? One of those two would always work. And they're both about the same length, so yeah. Anyway, we're going to close this out. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you got something out of this little list. Let me know if you have any suggestions for songs that kind of fit in with the vibe of this, what's going on. Particularly if you have live versions that have videos, because I like seeing them playing the instruments and stuff. And yeah, if you have any suggestions for music along these lines, please let me know. I'll put the link to this playlist in the description, and I'll try and maybe build it out based on more suggestions. I might break my one song per band rule if we start getting some really good stuff. Then I can maybe put Change of Seasons in there. I could put in Motorpsycho, have a few more epics. I could put Dogs in there. I could put Shiny Crazy Diamond, which I remember I read a thing that apparently David Gilmour and Roger Waters argued about it, and I think Roger said it should be split in two over the course of, you know, one half at the beginning of the album, one half at the end, and David Gilmour thought it should be one 26-minute song. I'm on David Gilmour's side. I think it was a mistake splitting it up like that, personally. So, on that bombshell, we're gonna close this out. Thank you very much for watching, and take care. And the camera's just cut out.